Good morning, class 9. So, in the previous class, we have discussed the sound of music part 1, and today we will be discussing the part 2, that is the Sahanai of Bismillah Khan. So, Kumaruddin Bismillah Khan, often referred by the title Ustad, so Ustad Bismillah Khan was an Indian musician and he has been credited with the popularizing the Sahanai, right? And while the Sahanai had a long held importance as a folk instrument played primarily in traditional ceremonies, Ustad Khan is credited with elevating its status and bringing it to a concert stage. And he was awarded with India's highest civilian honor, the Bharat Ratna, in the year 2001. So the chapter, the Sahanai of Bismillah Khan, gives in brief the life story of the greatest musician, Bismillah Khan. He is a Sahanai maestro, and it tells about the origin of the Sahanai. And Khan is one of the greatest personalities of Hindustani music, and he belongs to the Benares Gharana. He was born in Tumrao in Bihar, and his interest in music was visible from his childhood. As a Sahanai player, he has won national and international awards, many international awards, and he has traveled all over the world. And he has also been awarded with nation's highest award, as I told you, Bharat Ratna. And Bismillah thinks that music can bridge the gap between different communities. So he wants the music should be made a compulsory subject in schools, right? So here today we'll read the first 4 paragraphs and I will explain line by line. Okay, let's read out. In paragraph 1, Emperor Aurangzeb banned the playing of a musical instrument called pungi in the royal residence, for it had a shrill unpleasant sound. So shrill unpleasant sound means, shrill means very sharp, right? And unpleasant means something that you don't like. So pungi was a musical instrument and the predecessor of the Sahanai. And when the Mughals ruled India, before the Britishers came, and there was a very famous Mughal ruler named Aurangzeb. You already read about Aurangzeb in history, and he didn't allow the pungi be played in his royal residence because he felt that it had a very unpleasant sound. So pungi became a generic name for reeded noisemakers. A generic name means a name given to a group as a whole, right? And here generic name means the scientific names or a broad classification of something. So any musical instrument which is made with reed, like we have flutes, clarinets, they all are classified as pungi, right? And so pungi is a broad term for any type of instrument which uses wind to produce sound. So few had thought that it would one day be revived, but as Aurangzeb has banned all these reeded noisemaker, he had banned pungi as well as. So no one thought that one day such noisemaker would be played and their sound would be liked by the audience. A barber of a family of a professional musicians who had access to the royal palace decided to improve the tonal quality of the pungi. Tonal means sound, okay? So as the pungi had an unpleasant sound, there was a barber who belonged to a family of a professional musicians, and he wanted to play the pungi, but he knew that the sound produced by pungi was unpleasant. So he decided to improve the sound. So he chose a pipe with a natural hollow stem, and that was longer and broader than the pungi, and made 7 holes on their body of the pipe. Hollow means empty from inside. Okay, so this barber took a pipe and he made 7 holes on the body of the pipe, and when he played on it, closing and opening some of these holes, and soft and melodious sounds are produced. So then he blow air into the pipe and close and open different holes, and he found that soft and melodious sounds are produced when he did like this, and he played the instrument before royalty, and everyone was impressed. And the instrument so different from the pungi had to given a new name. So when the barber played this instrument in the royal court, everyone liked the sound, and the royal court decided and thought that this instrument was different from the pungi, so it should be a different name, right? So as the story goes, since it was first played in the Saz chambers and was played by a name means barber, right? The instrument was named the Sehenai. So as the story, so there is a story behind the name given to the instrument, and this instrument was played for the first time in the royal residence of the Shah. Okay, that means Shah Jahan, and Shah was a name given to the king, and as the name, that is the Indian term used for barber, had played it for the first time, they called it Sehenai. So the first part is Se, and which stands for Sa, and the second part is Nai, that is a barber. So the instrument was named as Sehenai, Shehhnai. Right. Here you can see the picture. First picture is represents as pungi, and the updated version, and that is Sehenai. Okay. Now in para 2. The sound of Sehenai began to be considered auspicious. Auspicious means promising to bring good fortune. So the sound which was produced by Sehenai was considered to be a good omen, right? And so it was played on good occasions. And for this reason, it is still played in temples and is an indispensable component for any North Indian wedding. Indispensable means without which a piece of work cannot be done, right? Something which is necessary, right? So we can hear the sound of Sehenai being played at many temples and wedding also, right? So in the past, the Sehenai was the part of Naubat, or traditional ensemble of 9 instruments found at royal courts. Ensemble means things considered as a group. So the Sehenai was a part of the Naubat. Naubat, it's a Urdu word, I think. It's a Urdu word, and it means traditional ensemble. That means a traditional group of 9 musical instruments, and these 9 musical instruments were played at a royal court, and Sehenai also a part of that Naubat, right? And till recently it was used only in temples and wedding, and the credit for bringing this instrument onto the classical stage goes to Ustad Bismillah Khan. So the Sehenai was played at the king's court, in temples and at the weddings, and it was used on stage in performance, and for that the credit goes to Ustad Bismillah Khan, who was a legendary Sehenai player, and people wanted to hear him play the Sehenai. As a 5-year-old, Bismillah Khan played Gilli Danda near a pond, in the ancient estate of Dumrao in Bihar. So when Bismillah Khan was 5 years old, he lived in an old estate named Dumrao. In the present day, it is situated in Bihar, and he used to play gilli danda, one kind of game, one kind of an old sport, quite similar to the cricket. So his usual, his earlier life was like us, and he would regularly go to nearby Bihariji temple to sing the Bhojpuri Chaita, at the end of which he would earn a big laddu, weighing 1.25 kg, a prize given by the local Maharaja. So he also go to nearby Vihariji temple, and though he was a Muslim, he would go to the temple and he would sing this song Chaita, Bhojpuri, in Bhojpuri language. And when he would finish reciting the song, he would get a big laddu as reward, and the weight of the laddu was 1.25 kg. And this was a prize given to Bismillah Khan by a local Maharaja for his singing Chaita. Right. And this happened 80 years ago, and that little boy has traveled far to earn the highest civilian award in India, the Bharat Ratna. So the writer says that this incident occurred when Bismillah was only 5 years old, and that he would get this laddu as a reward. And after 80 years, Bismillah Khan earned the highest civilian award in India, that is Bharat Ratna, and this is the distance that he has traveled in his life, from 5 years to 8 years, from laddu to achieving Bharat Ratna. Right. So at 5 years of age, he would get 1.25 kg of laddu as a reward, and at the year of 80, he achieved the highest civilian award in India, that is the Bharat Ratna. So the road was not so easy. Now in paragraph 4, born on 21st March, Bismillah belongs to a well-known family of musicians from Bihar. So Bismillah Khan was born on 21st March 1916 in a family of musicians in Bihar, and his grandfather Rasul Baks Khan was a Sahanai Nawaz of the Bhojpuri King's Court, and his father Paigambar Baks and the paternal ancestor were also great Sahanai players. Paternal ancestor means ancestor of the father, right? So the lineage of his father's side was full of great Sahanai players, and we can say that Bismillah Khanji acquired the skill of playing the Sahanai from his ancestor, and his grandfather was a great Sahanai player, and he played the Sahanai in the court of the Bhojpuri king, and his father and all paternal ancestor was also a great Sahanai players. So let's stop here. Up to para 4, I have explained the every line of 1 to para 4. So here we can see the Mughal from para 1 to para 4. The Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb banned the playing of the pungi in a royal's court, and he disliked the sound, and the pungi was termed to be a noisemaker. Then a Babar tried to improve the pungi's tone, and he got a hollow stem, wider and longer than the pungi, and he made 7 holes on it and blow into it, and by closing and opening the hole, and it produced a soft and melodious music. And as this instrument had been developed by a barber, at that time a barber was called Nay in India, and it had played in the king's court called Sa, so the instrument was named as Sehnai, right? So the Sehnai became a part of auspicious occasion, and it was a part of the group of 9 musical instruments that were played at the royal's court. And in 1916, Bismillah was born at Dumrao, Bihar, into a family of musicians, and his grandfather Rasul Box Khan, used to play the Sahnai at the court of the kings of Bhojpur, and his father Paigambar Box and his paternal as well as maternal uncles were also Sahnai players. And as a child, Bismillah Khan would visit the Bihariji temple to sing the Bhojpuri Chaita, and for which the king rewarded him with a laddu weighing of 1.25 kg. Okay, so this is up to it. Please go through the chapter line by line and go through the PDF. In the next class, we will be discussing the last part of the text. Thank you.